Now that we no longer live in the 60s or 90s anymore, most people in the health nut demographic have been aware of the tremendous pervasiveness of refined vegetable oils or seed oils in processed foods. These are cheap, polyunsaturated, shelf-stable alternatives to traditional oils like olive oil or avocado oil or coconut oil. And they show up on the back of everything, nearly all processed foods and packaged foods, and jarred sauces and container sauces, especially the cheaper brands, always the cheaper brands of biscuits and cookies and craft sauces, and even a lot of high-end products too. They just have to use cheap oils, because actually realistically it would be impossible to use high quality olive oil as the foundational fat or the base fat for everything. It would be astronomically impossible, costly, and we wouldn't have enough resources for that. But still, this is our alternative. And we see these oils show up as most commonly canola oil or rapeseed oil or palm kernel oil. Often it's just called palm oil, soybean oil, and otherwise it's just called vegetable oil. So many health experts and nutritionists, or rather nutritionists, have raised concerns about the potential health implications of our regular consumption of these refined oils, because packaged and refined foods makes up, on average, probably 30% of our diet. People eat a lot of packaged things. A lot of our sauces are packaged. A lot of meat can be packaged, deli meats and cookies and things like that. For some people, half of their diet is just packaged food. They're not actually cooking their food. Then you have all the other problems that come with that too, other kinds of processing. So there's a sensible consideration, since the average North American consumes about 25 to 30% of their calories from the refined oils alone. Now, what are they? These are polyunsaturated. So their nature is fragile and unstable when exposed to heat. They're classified as ultra-processed foods. In fact, they're actually classified as ultra-processed foods, which include industrial processing, which removes nutrients and natural elements. And there's a lot of heating. It's really high heat processing. And there's preserving that they have to deal with. There's a preserving, in this case, chemicals like hexane, which is a solvent used in gasoline. And due to the high heating process, these unsaturated oils actually become rotten and toxic before they even get bottled up and sent out. And also, so the bleach and deodorizers also have to be added to clean the oils and reduce the rancid smell. So the greatest extent of ultra processing occurs when these cheap rotten oils are used at very high heat in deep fryers. After you've opened up the container, now you're going to heat it up again to cook the food. And the greatest extent of ultra processing occurs when these cheap, already rotten oils are again used at high heat in deep fryers to cook the food, which is also processed, usually, right? So, especially things like the Mars bars, the deep fried Mars bars, but other foods, the typical ones like fish and chips, breaded chicken wings and strips, breaded cheese sticks, and breaded pickles. So when starches and sugars are combined with fats and heated at high temperatures, like with frying, a process called glycation occurs. And this process involves the chemical reaction between sugars and proteins, and this creates advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These compounds can accumulate in the body and they are the ones that cause inflammation and diabetes and cardiovascular disease. So AGEs are not nutritious. Our body doesn't use the fat and protein created by that starch and sugar. Instead, the glycation end products have really detrimental effects on the body, like the buildup of plaque in our arteries. So this eventually leads to atherosclerosis and heart disease as well. And if that didn't sound bad enough, in restaurants, the same oil that was used at the beginning of the day continues to get used about 100 times before it's changed. This is terrible because the heating and reheating of unstable seed oils just completely raises this toxicity. Seed oils were not originally intended for human consumption. Even when the refining process was developed in the 1865 era, they were primarily seen as industrial products. These polyunsaturated fatty acids are designed to support the membranes of our cells. So within the cell, various components perform specific functions. Each component is enclosed within a membrane, and that facilitates communication and interaction. But on top of that, the mitochondria, responsible for energy production, are also membrane bound. Mitochondria are crucial as nearly all diseases involve their dysfunction, a mitochondrial dysfunction. So seed oils can penetrate cell membranes and potentially replace their natural components. And this is what's so detrimental about it, as these membranes are essential for cellular function. The oxidative stress from smoking, for example, can linger for 6 months to a year after one cigarette. However, consuming seed oils can have a similar prolonged toxic effect, which lasts about 3 years after just one serving. So that's pretty unbelievable. And unlike other fats, seed oils were never intended to be eaten, as I said, so their most harmful impact lies in their effect on mitochondria. This is why they often contribute to insulin resistance. So many problems. Consuming seed oils can lead to a cascade of health issues, including fatty liver, obesity, heart disease, and a much greater risk of cancer because of the oxidation. So heating seed oils, even if they're already processed, just further increases their toxicity. And this process creates harmful byproducts known as oxidation products. And unlike the fuels that are burned for energy, seed oils accumulate in the body. They just accumulate, and this causes damage and clogs the various systems. So let's consider healthier options for deep frying, if that's the kind of style of cooking that you like all the time. This graph here illustrates the peroxide levels, a measure of oxidation in various oils. Soybean oil has the highest peroxide levels. Corn and sunflower oil follows, with canola, olive, tallow, and coconut oil showing lower levels, much lower. For deep frying, consider alternatives like avocado oil or coconut oil, olive oil, tallow, butter, or ghee. These options are much healthier choices compared to the highly processed oils like soybean or sunflower. And even though you could potentially use any of these oils for deep frying, it's generally advisable to avoid high heat cooking like this deep frying method of any oil, because this always creates harmful compounds as the oil or the fat begins to break up, or break down rather. And for more optimal health benefits, it's always best to choose the unrefined, cold-pressed oils like the coconut oil, avocado oil. And these types of oils are still nice and green looking and rich in monounsaturated fats, which are much less prone to oxidation compared to the polyunsaturated fats. And furthermore, both avocado oil and olive oil provide a lot of protective properties from their monounsaturated fats. And it really helps with longevity when you're using energy, your own body's energy to break down the food. It's protecting your cells as you're eating and digesting. And coconut oil can also be used for cooking, of course, but they can smoke at more higher temperatures, so it's best to cook with it at high heat in stir fries and pan fried dishes. Now, tallow, a type of beef fat, is a healthier option as well. And then ghee is clarified butter. It's also preferable to regular butter because it has a high heat cooking ability, like in vegetable stir fries or when you're cooking eggs. Avoid heating the oil to a smoking point. Using butter instead of oil can give a nice flavor, and pan frying is a healthier option. Consider an air fryer because it's much healthier. It doesn't require any oil.